Welcome to the show, everyone. Devlin here. Welcome to an all-new episode of Faux Real. Oh boy, do I have a good show for you today. For her record fourth time on this program, I welcome the return of the incredible comic actress, writer, producer, and just hilarious human, Lana Turner. You've seen her on NBC, Comedy Central, Animal Planet, Netflix, VH1, CMT, and True TV's How to Be a Grown-Up. As it also says on her shiny new website, she is one of the hardest working comics in the business today, and she really is. And she's just really fun to talk to. Obviously, because she's been on this show 3 times already. She was on my show. I was on her podcast called The Perfect 10, which you'll hear about. She's getting ready to start back up, so that's really cool. She has a number of specials out. There's one called Limeade. There's one called So I Wrote a Song About It, which we are also going to talk about during our conversation. You can also see her in a lot of great independent movies, including This Is Meg, Brand New Old Love, and the documentary What's Eating Ralphie May, the hilarious and heartwarming story of her late husband, the incredible comic Ralphie May. So definitely check that out. I am so stoked for you guys to hear our conversation. Lana is an absolute treat. You can check out all of her incredible work on her shiny new website at lanaturner.com. That's LAHNATURNER, including some really fantastic videos that she put together during quarantine, including one called The Secret Life of Tech, which is just freaking hilarious. So, without further ado, let's get right to it. Here is Faux Real Conversation number 4 with Lana Turner.
You.
Good to see you. It's been 3 years, right? Something like that?
I was sitting here trying to remember the last time that I saw you, and I don't think it was I remember coming in and doing your podcast in that building, but I think have I run into you since then? Because I see you on social media, so I lose track.
No idea. Time is an ever-flowing ocean. It's all relative. Who knows? Okay.
It's crazy right now.
I can hear you perfectly, but I don't see you.
You don't see me? Am I dark?
I don't see you at all, actually.
Oh, here you go.
There it is.
All
Hooray!
right, how does that look? Is that better?
That's perfect. And you even got your official backdrop.
Yeah, we put the name up.
Cool. Yeah, looks great.
Yeah. And if you want, I record it on an actual camera, so I can send you like a clean, non-Zoom quality video.
That would be great. Thank you so much.
Okay.
I just got a professional camera. I bought it off of a friend, so I'm learning the techniques. I don't have it going for the podcast yet, but that is my next step.
Yeah.
So
it's a lot. There's a lot.
It really is. Yeah, I am learning how to be a producer. I'm learning very slowly.
Professional cameras, your
iPhone
might be better.
Well, hold on. Oh, really?
Yeah.
No, he's not. He doesn't have a camera
Okay.
yet. Yeah, you have to. I don't know. Going through all this stuff right now is trying to figure out how to navigate all this has been really crazy, right?
Absolutely. But after doing a million of these, you kind of get the hang of it pretty fast after you're, got to put on that swim cap and jump right in.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Your COVID cap.
Yeah, the COVID cap. That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah. I was just watching your new.
Are we already doing the interview?
We're going. Yeah, I pressed all the buttons. Yeah, this is it. We're in.
I just started the camera on my end, just so you know.
Oh, great. Cool.
Okay.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
Good.
Um, I just watched your COVID videos. Hilarious. Although
Yeah.
the one where you're wearing the the maxi pads for your masks, it was very disturbing, but hilarious. Again, as I just texted you, you never hold back, and that's what I love about you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, now that was right before we all realized we actually had to wear masks and
Oh,
people were being all, so yeah, the maxi pad thing. You can't breathe through a maxi pad, by the way.
not so much.
No, I had
Probably
to
not.
like
No.
put it on and then take it off. So I don't know if you've ever put a maxi pad on your face before,
I
but
try to avoid it. No, no. I no.
accidentally.
No, no, not so much.
Actually, I've never put a maxi pad on my face either until that day. So
That's good to hear, Lana. That's good to hear. um, wow, it really is good to see you. This is cool. I love talking to you, Lana, and you really. I want to thank you again for having me on your show. We did the pod swap
yes.
a few years ago. I really appreciate that, and you were so welcoming. And because I have all of these dumb, I got a lot of voices going on in there, and a lot of weird pressures. I'm one of those people that always like I all of my thoughts echo back to me like, are you doing this right? You're not doing this right. You probably shouldn't have said that. All of those things. And you just really speak your mind. And I love that about you so much.
Oh.
And you made me feel very comfortable in my own skin, which I really appreciate.
Yeah, but I feel like you were, when I met you, you were very open to share stuff about yourself that a lot of people wouldn't. So, I mean, if the, like, whatever, the mouse is running in your head trying to stop you from talking, it's doing a fabulous job of allowing you to share.
That hamster
You do
is
a
on
great
speed.
job.
I'm telling you what, he's just
Yeah.
no, all the time.
Yeah, I try and pump the brakes sometimes, but I'm not
Do you?
successful with it. Yeah. Yeah. But I think anything for comedy, like if it's funny, then we need to go for it mostly. Although the ability to actually say everything that's on your mind maybe isn't so healthy in current times. I don't know. But I
There
don't
are a
really
lot of
have,
comics
like,
getting in
horrible
trouble.
thoughts.
There are a
Well,
lot of comics getting in
hurtful
trouble
thoughts.
for those things right
Yeah.
now. So
Yeah. I should say I have horrible thoughts, but they're not like hurtful and they don't come from a bad place. So I think that's where you can skirt the line more. I think when people say things and it's just like, oh, that came from a bad place. Like, oh, but yeah.
yeah, there were as I was watching your special, there were a few things that that sort of danced along the line, but I enjoyed it because I find all of that stuff very funny. I like you. I have a very crude sense of humor, so I am, listen, that's the whole thing that I love. It's comedy. You have to that kind of stuff is funny, even if it's and like like the line from Avenue Q, everyone's a little bit racist. I have to admit that.
Oh.
Have you ever seen that
Ooh.
musical, Avenue
I love
Q?
that musical. I saw
It's
it
wonderful.
in New York. It's
Did you?
hilarious. Yeah. And I mean, I feel like when you record something so many years, many years ago, it's also a photograph of yourself in high school. Like when you look back to your high school photos or your middle school photos, you're like, oh, I looked like that. Where was my mind at that time? And it's always evolving and moving forward, So I'm super proud of all that content because it's funny, So, but it's definitely a photo of what I was doing a few years ago, and you're always evolving, which is cool.
Absolutely. And oh boy, has the world changed
Yeah.
in 3 years and in 3 months?
Yeah.
Very, very much. It's wild, man. I have I've had so many different days waking up since March. You know what I mean? Like Very,
It's like
very.
Groundhog Day. It's the same day, but a little different or a little weirder.
Yes, absolutely. Very strange. Speaking of Groundhog Day, did you see the new Lonely Island movie?
Mm.
It
Oh, yeah,
Palm
yeah,
Springs.
yeah. That I loved it.
Ridiculous. I loved it too. Yeah, that was great. It definitely took a turn that I didn't expect. I was like, oh, that's what we're doing with this. Okay.
Yeah, when it first started, I was like, "What? This is a little awkward." And then a few minutes into it, and you got it. You're like, "Oh, this is awesome."
Oh yeah,
So yeah, I loved it. Yeah, that was total Groundhog Day
for sure.
remake of it. Oh, yeah,
Have
that's
you had
awesome.
any of those moments during these months? How have you been keeping all your brain pieces together during this time? Because I
Not.
know you have kids too, so
Yeah,
that's a
no.
lot to
There's.
deal with.
Yeah, I'm fortunate in some ways because my kids are at a good age. My son just turned 11, my daughter's 12, so they're at that age where they still like me. So they want to hang out, which is good. I think if they're younger, I'd be they'd be a lot more maintenance. Like I can give them stuff to go and do, and they'll do it. They don't need me constantly supervising them. And then if they were a little bit older, they wouldn't want to be around me, and they'd be anxious teenagers, and
Going
you
off
know,
on their own.
and that's a
But
little bit more dangerous because that's the group of people that are having a hard time sitting still, and it's making for more issues, it seems. But so I feel lucky in that way. But I know, I mean, we're going to be homeschooling again. It's a lot of work.
are you? Yeah.
Yeah. And also at their age, what does make it hard is that they are social, so they need to hang out with other kids. But it's like anytime you're hanging out with anybody right now, it's like dating, right? Like you have to ask them, like, where have you been? Who have you been hanging out with? Were
You
you
really
wearing
do. You
protection?
gotta pat them down first. Just
Uh-huh.
like use one of those little mechanical arms to like,
Give me your
check
history.
their pockets and their,
Have you been tested?
put a
All that
mirror
stuff.
up to their face and get their so they can breathe on it, and then you got to put it in a petri dish and send it through the lab and wait for it to come back before
Right.
you
And then
can
you're like, okay, we can hang out in 14 days.
exactly.
Yeah, that's been really hard. But yeah, we're getting through it. I mean, we honestly, I feel like we don't have anybody in our immediate circle that's gotten sick. So I, that's when I think it just, yeah.
Yeah, I've been really lucky too, and I have two roommates, and we practice all the things. We always wear our masks when we're walking around. I have my little, I have to go on my Poke Walk to catch Pokemon every day.
Oh, really?
Oh yes. Mm-hmm. Everybody's playing Animal Crossing. I'm still playing Pokemon Go, as I have been for the past 4 years. So
That's awesome.
I'm all over it.
Are people not playing it? Are you the only one walking around
I
playing
think I am the only one. Yeah, I'm the only one
last
left. Yeah,
stronghold?
Niantic makes it
But
just for me.
what crossing game? What's that one? I don't know.
Animal
that one. That's how
Crossing?
unhip I am. No. Wait, is that Crossy Road?
No, it's the one for the Nintendo Switch, and the way I understand it, because I didn't get in with it either before the Nintendo Switches went up to $500 and $600, so I can't buy one. But essentially, you have all these little animals, and you create your own little house and your own little dwelling, and you go and meet with the other little animals, and they all have their
That's
own little
exactly what I want
dwellings.
to do. When I'm stuck in my own little house with my own little animals. Okay, go on. I'm sorry. I had to interrupt.
Yeah. Both kids and actual animals, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I have a cat, and we're all stuck in it. So, all right, go on. So you're creating this imaginary world.
You're creating this imaginary world, and it's essentially like Sims with animals. So you're just, I don't know if you ever played The Sims either, but essentially it's a whole virtual world within itself, and I think it would be really cool.
Does that make you walk around like Pokemon is? Because that gets you out at least, and then you can actually walk into traffic or fall off a cliff.
Which is my favorite part. It's got a little danger. You got to have a danger element.
Just like, but in this case, you're at home creating a virtual world, and you don't have to leave your
from
home.
your chair. That's right. Exactly. Mm-hmm. And it's the big thing. If you go on Twitter, everyone is playing it except me. I'm watching from afar. My roommates watch on the they watch the tutorials of other people playing the games, which I mean, I guess if you can't have the console, that's the best way to go about it. You know, if you're going to be really lazy about it, let someone else do it and just watch them.
So now, rather than creating your own virtual world, you're watching somebody else play in their virtual world from your computer.
Right.
Gosh, we're so bored. We're really bored. That's
Listen,
cool. No, it's really cool. Look, when people were dealing with pandemics before, like Spanish flu, there was no Netflix. There was no, I'm going to sit and play a video game all day long. Like you really had to figure out how to, like you're stuck playing like Twister and Monopoly and like maybe not even that. You're like playing like rolling dice and dominoes, if you're lucky, right?
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
we've got it all. We really do have it made,
Yeah.
honestly. It's still a lot to deal with because our minds are plaguing us. But yeah, we have endless entertainment, which is great. And speaking of endless entertainment, check that transition. You provide it because you are a really talented comic and musician. See your guitars back there. Which one is your favorite guitar, by the way? Which one is
The
your
one
go-to?
right there with my name in it. That's
Nice.
that's my favorite one.
The one you played in your special. Yes.
Yeah.
Cool.
I love it. I went to the Country Music Hall of Fame in Nashville like years ago, and I saw the guitars with the names in the neck, like Elvis Presley and all these famous musicians, and I thought that's brilliant. Why isn't anyone doing that anymore? Like, and so I immediately decided I was gonna do that, but you can't put spinners on a shit car. So I had to get a good guitar, and then it took about a year and to get it made, but that was it. And I love that guitar.
Oh wow! So you had it made for you.
Well, I found the guitar that I wanted. It's called a Santa Cruz, which is it's a really pretty. I never had a good guitar. I've been playing my whole life, but every guitar I have was like just crappy yard sale guitar, or
Sure,
the
hand me
cheapest thing you
down.
could
Yeah.
get at a Guitar Center. And when I decided I wanted to make my guitar beautiful, I had to find a guitar that really fit me also. And so it's the right size, like it's not a huge guitar, and it sounds pretty. And yeah, I love my guitar.
That's so awesome. Does it make you feel powerful to hold it like you're holding Excalibur? You know what I mean? It has its own special essence to it, right?
Well, yeah, and like I don't like other people to touch my guitar, like that offends me if somebody like walks in the room and grabs my guitar that I don't know intimately or personally. Like
Mm-hmm.
that'll happen sometimes, like in the green room, someone walk in, like grab your guitar, and you're just like, no, like that's like you're just like grabbing like my vagina or something. Like you can't just walk up and grab my guitar. So that in that way, yeah, I've never felt like I'm holding like a gun or something. Like,
Oh no,
but,
I didn't mean it in that way at all. It's
yeah.
just so, like it very much has your essence in it. I mean, if it took a year to to come together, that's really special.
That has, I've damaged it. Walking. One time I was trying to get onto stage and knocked it into like a door, and it stuff like that. You just feel it. You're like, oh gosh, I felt that pain, and like so in that way, yeah. But I love it. Maybe it does have my essence. I don't know. I will let you touch my guitar next time I see you.
Will you really? Oh, thank you,
Yes.
Lana. That makes me
Yes.
feel really good. Thank you.
Not
I
my
appreciate
vagina.
that.
So, but the guitar only.
Hands off, hands off. I feel like we covered so much ground in the last times that we talked, and we had, I mean, we've probably had 5 or 6 hours worth of conversation when we talked before. We really got into it. I went back and listened to pieces of those episodes before, but I really hate listening back to the sound of my own voice, so I didn't want to listen to the entire episodes. I love listening to your voice, but just not mine.
I know that feeling. It's like I was saying, like if I went back and watched my special, and it's like looking at yourself, another time. And like I said, like, oh, and I see pictures in junior high. I'm just like, oh, that, like, I had big hair, braces, like BO. I mean, it wasn't good. So, you know, I know it's just painful to watch yourself because you're going to be your own worst critic.
And I definitely am, always. Were you popular in high school?
No. I had friends that I still have to this day, a really good group of really special girls that I became friendly with towards the end of high school. I moved to a new school my freshman year. But by the time I'd gotten to the end of high school, we just developed this really deep friendship. But we were not like the popular girls. We were just nice girls. We were like the Virgin Society. Like,
Oh, wow.
yeah, we are not. We actually did one day we were hanging out, we realized we were all still virgins and we were like, yay, we're like the Virgin Society. Yeah.
Oh, wow. It's just something that you came upon that wasn't,
Yeah.
wow.
Super nerdy. Yeah.
That's
But they're all
great.
brilliant. They've all grown up to be super brilliant, super successful, like beautiful women. And yeah, and we're still in touch. And actually through COVID, we've been having like monthly hangouts online. And we haven't hardly seen each other as a group, but a couple of times over the years. So yeah. But no, high school, especially, I moved a couple times as a kid. So you're looking at super nerd. Yeah.
That's why we get along.
Yeah.
For sure.
I like nerdy stuff though. So yeah.
Yeah. That's my whole thing. That's
Nerds are cool now though.
Oh yeah. We have been for a while. We're
Yeah.
rocking it. I think we're taking over a lot. I watched your ASMR video too.
Oh.
That was so silly and great. Have you ever actually, besides the video, have you ever actually done any ASMR?
No, are you into it? Is that a thing that you like?
So I just like researching things, especially, strange things or just, emerging tech, whatever is going on currently. I like to do a bit of research. And so I checked it out and I actually took part in an ASMR video and I had no clue whatsoever what I was doing.
Well, you made a video?
Yeah, I was cast in one, and I told them right up front, I said, I've never done this before. I have zero experience. So if you book me, just know going in, and they're like, we need people. I'm like, okay, just as long as you know. So they paired me with this YouTuber influencer who does it like, and she even speaks like her normal speaking voice is very crisp and clear and very direct. And she was like, it was like speaking to the queen. And she was very, very nice, but also very strict and carried herself a certain way. And every time, like we were doing like teeth brushing and running our fingernails down cucumbers and like washing a plate in the dishwasher or whatever, or in the sink or whatever it was. And she was so particular in it. And like I would do something and she would give me the eye, like, you're not doing that right. Anyway,
it was rubbing down your cucumber.
Exactly. I was not rubbing my cucumber right. And I thought, I've been doing this my entire life. I feel emasculated, but it was very silly and a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun doing it. And a little piece of that video that we did actually ended up being used in the Astronomy Club on Netflix. They had like, have you seen this show? It's a sketch comedy show, and they used a little piece of it for like an awards show segment that they did.
Cool.
So that was kind of neat. It was fun. It was very interesting. I asked them, sort of what goes into it. And you got to get a special mic with the whole thing. I don't have time. It's enough work trying to put this podcast together. I don't, I'll let the professionals handle it. But it was fun. You did a very good job, I thought.
Oh, thank you.
I don't really. Have you listened to the ASMR videos? Did they give you anything?
Yeah, I researched. I didn't know what it was when I was starting to think about the idea of how to create that video. So I watched a bunch of people, and honestly, they do take themselves very seriously, and I thought it was funny. So I mean, and when you talk about going far, we like that video went far. I took it like way over the edge. But I actually have another idea for another ASMR video, so I need to get onto that. But yeah,
I will watch it.
yay! That one gets pretty gross, though. I have to.
I wouldn't have it any other way, Lana. That's I mean, that's all I would expect from you. So, you know.
Thank you. Well, if anybody, while people are watching this, click over. It's on my YouTube channel, and you can watch that and the COVID videos, and then my 1 hour special that you started out talking about. That's available on Tubi, and I believe you can also get it on Amazon. So.
As long as you turn your ad blocker off, you can watch it for free, which is what I was doing.
There you go. Oh, you can do ad blocker on Tubi? You can do that?
No, they won't let you. That's what I was saying. Yeah, you got to turn it off.
Oh.
Otherwise, it blocks you. Well, it's okay. I turned it on. Whatever, no problem.
It used to be on Hulu, and I don't have control over where it goes. That whole artist controlling your own content thing is really important.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, you got to learn that through not having control of your content, because then it ends up. Although I like that it's on Tubi, I don't have a problem with it, but I just, I don't have control over getting ads or not.
That's why I stopped being on a network for the show, because not that I pretty much had complete control, but it wasn't going out to all the places that I needed it to. So fully independent now, baby.
Yeah, I think nowadays it's really important to have your own stuff and be able to put it where you want to put it and reach, because you can reach people, but yeah, it's crazy. Everything's changing. Like we were talking about at the beginning of the show, it's even that is changing.
Yeah. And there's so many freaking new platforms just with all sorts of media everywhere. And it's really too many places to watch things. Endless content. I forgot about Tubi until I was on. Yeah, until today. I was like, oh yeah, that's a thing that exists.
That's another platform. Yeah, yeah, it's crazy. I know. But
how was talking with Dr. Drew?
Oh, I love Dr. Drew. He's been so good to me and like my family, and so I've done Dr. Drew's podcast twice now, and I anticipate going back on there after the film that we talked about on those podcasts come out. But yeah, he's actually signed on to be a producer on my documentary. That was what we talked about.
That's great.
Yeah,
excellent.
Which was lined up to do all these festivals and everything. Right now we were supposed to be at like 5 different festivals, and it just all got wiped clean. So I had to like figure out how to just get it streaming on one of these platforms, and that's where we're at with it. But you can also check out the trailer for that documentary. It's called What's Eating Ralphie May, and it's a documentary that I never thought I'd be a part of. Never thought this film would ever be what it is, but it is. And as a objective person that isn't a major subject in the film, it's awesome. It really is. Being a part of the film, it's a little bit painful, but I've been doing it for so many years now. Like it's been years since it was shot, and then going through the edit, and now this part of it, it's become less. I'm a little desensitized to it. It's still hard, but yeah. So you feel free to ask questions.
Well, I'm sure I'll have a lot more questions when I finally get to see it, and when we all get to see it. And I'm really excited about that, because I know you have been working on it for a long time, and I'm sure it will be very powerful, and um, you know, um,
Thank you.
absolutely.
Well, to circle back to the original question though, Dr. Drew is like, it was crazy. Like I used to listen to Love Lines. So
Me
meeting
too.
him, I'm starstruck when I see him. I'm just in awe, right? Just he's Dr. Drew.
Oh yeah, I listen to Loveline almost every day back in Illinois, and I um, I called into his new show. This was a couple years
Oh,
ago,
cool.
and I was talking about polyamory, which I don't think. Um, well, I I don't think they had enough information to speak on what I was asking about, and I don't remember my exact question at the time. But he is super cool, and yeah, I mean, what a learned, very intelligent, well spoken, like um, just super knowledgeable dude, you know.
Well, yeah, I know, and I would imagine so. Like he would probably be interesting to talk to about that, but maybe it's hard to answer a question. I don't know what your question was, but I remember that's one of the things that we talked about on my
Yes.
podcast with you,
Hmm.
which, yeah, how's that work in a pandemic? I
It doesn't.
was gonna say you
That's
can't
the short
be.
answer. No, dating has been, well, this is a different answer than it was a few weeks ago. I've actually been talking to a really sweet Chilean woman that I met on Tinder. Yes, Tinder, I know, but all of the dating apps are tools. They all have their, I mean, Tinder is thought of as a certain way, and so is Bumble, and so are all of them.
I've never
But
really done it though. I don't know what the differences are between them. Like, is Tinder considered more of like a hookup one, or
bingo, yes.
okay?
But it it works, how you use it. With Bumble, a lot of women speak highly of Bumble, that they prefer that platform because with Bumble, when you get a match, the woman has to message you first. So that, that helps alleviate a lot of ridiculousness. But, people are still going to be who they are. And I've seen a lot of very bad interactions on Bumble, just as they happen on Tinder and all of the other ones. So anyway, we met on Tinder, and she's a sweetheart, and
So you've
she
met in person since
we
then,
haven't.
obviously.
No,
Oh, you haven't.
no,
So
not
you,
at all. No way to do so. We're trying to work out that maybe she'll fly up here for a week
oh,
or something.
she's not
No,
in the
she's in
area.
Chile.
Oh, well, you said Chilean. I didn't know that that meant she was in Chile. Like,
She's in
that's,
Chile. Yes. Yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
that really complicates things.
It does. I don't. I mean,
How did you even, like, if you're swiping, isn't that like in a geographic area? Or I would think.
so they've changed the app a million times in the last few months, and I think they automatically switched me to, I forget what they call it, but essentially it just goes out globally.
So it allows you to meet anybody anywhere on the planet.
Exactly. And I may have opted into it at some point and just forgot. But and interestingly,
Kind of cool though. You can meet
it's
people
really
all around the
cool.
world. It's,
It really
I mean,
is.
if you're not like, because you're saying it's a hookup place, but nobody's actually hooking up. So like, you're just meeting nice people that you have things in common with. And that's
Exactly.
really, so
I
you
was
go
just
from,
looking for conversation, to be honest, but I, ended up finding someone that really gets along with me romantically. So that's pretty cool.
so you can develop a relationship long distance and get to know her, like actually
Hmm.
really talk to her on the phone and
And we have.
time.
Hmm.
How long has this been going on?
A few weeks.
I think that's
It's
cute.
very new. Yeah. And interestingly enough, she didn't have a profile picture up at all. She just had like flowers. And listen, I know I'm asking for trouble. Never do that.
What do you mean never put up a profile
I would
picture
not
that-
suggest it. No, no. Don't swipe on profiles with no profile picture, generally speaking. But I was just, doing a swipe session. And so you shouldn't do that either, really. But, you're
You're
up at
swiping
1
everybody. Anybody who
o'clock in the morning and you're sitting there in bed trying to fall asleep. And so I'm just like, doop, 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 doop. And, if I, listen, it's quarantine. I need to have a conversation. I need human interaction. So anybody that you're like, oh, so, most people, most matches that I get, I never hear from them. Like, even if I think it's a really good match, a lot of people don't even check Tinder. So, they don't
Right,
check
it's like a
the
dead
app.
account. It's an account, they have the app, but they're not looking at it.
So it was
And
really
maybe they
nice
get
to make
into a
that connection.
relationship with somebody and they forget to turn it off or something, right?
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
So you're swipe, and this woman writes you back and it's just a floral arrangement. You have no idea what she looks like.
No idea. But she has since sent me pictures and she's gorgeous. So
Well, if you're talking to her, you hear her voice. Have you done a FaceTime?
we have. Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. So you've seen her.
Yeah. She has a very sweet accent. I love it.
Look at you. That's cool. I think it's a great way to get to know somebody. And it so after COVID settles and everything's better, or maybe not even after it settles, are you planning a trip?
Well, she's going to have to come here because currently United States citizens are not allowed to go anywhere internationally. They cut us off.
Us. We're
they really don't. We're a scourge right now. And I don't blame anybody because we have just really done everything wrong. I mean, just every single move we made, especially here in Southern California. I mean, I don't want to go into talking about the mayor, but he's a real piece of work. So, I think everything started opening up and then we closed it down and then we opened it up again and then back and forth. And, it was going to take a while no matter what, because we don't have a vaccine. But boy, did we do everything wrong, and, I'm sure you've seen it. I mean, people aren't wearing their masks and it's a very, and we still don't know a lot about the virus. We know about sort of how the other COVIDs work, how they operate once they enter the body. But this particular strain, we just don't know a lot. And we're still figuring it out, No,
I can comment on all that, but I can also say I'm really glad now that people are washing their hands, because there's a lot of dirty people who wouldn't wash their hands before this started. And that's disgusting.
Yes, it is.
I'm happy to see buffets go away on a personal note, right? Yeah, those are that's long. Maybe the Indian buffet is okay, right? Because
Sure.
You're probably going to not feel well after that anyhow, and you go into that knowing it. But yeah, I'm thinking good to see that go too. Just order what you want, bring it to the table. But my personal favorite thing that I've been saying for years, thankfully will hopefully go away, which is blowing on the birthday cake.
Oh, yes.
Yes. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Okay, so for years now, ever since I had kids, I came online with the idea that that's just a disgusting practice. And when my kids would have a birthday, or I would have a birthday, we bring out the cake, cut their slice off, put the candles in their piece of cake, and they blow on that and only that. Because how many parties have you been to where you're like, that's a beautiful cake. And then the person blows all over it.
Blows
You're
their
like,
spittle all
yeah,
over
oh,
all of the
yeah.
slide. Absolute. I am 100,000% with you on that one. And I guess I've never really thought about it, but yeah, every birthday I've ever been to in my entire life. And because we've talked about this before, I am a super germaphobe, and I have been for a long time. Like I wouldn't say I've been preparing for this my entire life, but I've pretty much always been ready to go. Like I've got a box of wet ones in my sink so I can just pull a pack. I keep a pack in my pocket at all times. And I mean, I was doing this,
Yeah, no,
for a
there's
while.
certain things like that before this, some people might have thought were weird. Well, the birthday cake thing, because I feel like validated right now in this moment because I've been doing that for so long. But the other thing is, I don't want to wash my hands in the bathroom and then touch the handle to leave the bathroom. So I find that moment absolutely paralyzing, in which I've washed my hands in the sink and there's no paper towel. So I have to like use my foot to shut the water off and then figure out how to use my foot to open the door because I don't want to touch the door. And I feel like that level of neuroses is now like the new, like good. Like,
Lana,
oh,
I get you so well on that. I really do. What I'll do is wash my hands and then grab a paper towel to open the door if there's a doorknob. If it's a regular push door.
Oh, those are the best because you just walk. It should always be grab the handle to go in, kick the door to go out.
Exactly.
Always. But they don't always do that, and then you have to get like toilet paper, and your hands are wet, and you got to like, it's a mess.
No, no. And the ones at Yard House are the worst because they're like really heavy doors, and you can't the trick that I like to do is open the bottom of the door with my foot, which is what I'll do at convenience store or Ralph's or well, those are automatic doors, but at Subway or whatever, I'll open it and with the bottom of my foot. But sometimes the doors are really heavy and you got to really put all of your body weight into it.
Have you ever
get them open?
There's two things about that. Have you found yourself in a position where you are close enough to the door to prop the door open with your foot while you wash your hands off, and then you can still get out the door?
Yeah, that's perfect.
That's
a perfect scenario.
But the worst, when you feel like you might really have an issue, is if you're standing there looking at the door, trying to figure out how am I going to open this door, and you're literally waiting and hoping somebody comes in so that you don't have to touch the handle.
This has been a point of crises throughout the last 20 years of my life, Lana. Truly, it has.
Everybody gets it now, I think. I would hope. Maybe not, but I would hope.
We're getting closer.
And how about this for being ahead of the curve? Because I have kids and a little boy, and sometimes he has, growing up, maybe he's not always cleaning himself the best. This one, bidet hose. That was majorly advanced. People 5 months ago, toilet paper gate, would be like, oh, you're crazy. But I've traveled the world, and it's way more sanitary to have a bidet hose. I'm pretty convinced that's one of the issues in us having world peace, is just because we're kind of dirtier than the rest of the world in that area because people wash themselves with water. So, but this one, bidet hose before the pandemic.
I love it. I absolutely love it.
Flying off Amazon. People couldn't get those either because the toilet paper was gone, and so were those.
Right.
Yeah.
You're learning way too much about the way I keep my bathroom, but I actually have a packet of wet ones right by the toilet. And that's and they're all purpose, really. I am not sponsored by Wet Ones, but I would love to be because I use them constantly.
Those aren't the flushable ones though, but I'm assuming you're renting, so you just flush all you want, right?
No, actually I keep a tight ship in my bathroom. I really do. But I will tell you, those flushable wipes, that's a total myth. You should never no. They
Nothing should go down there.
That's right, except
Yep.
toilet paper.
Yep.
Absolutely, because man, the people that like sewer workers and stuff like that, they hate those things. They're a total mess. Really
I
hard to
just,
clean out.
of all the handy people, like whether they're like contractors who do electricians, whatever, all the different skills, plumbers, by far the coolest. Always. Have you had that
Heroes.
experience? They're always, because they have a sense of humor. I mean, they're like, plumber humor's the best.
They've seen it all.
Yeah, no, they've been there and done that.
They've seen it all. Absolutely. You are absolutely right. I applaud plumbers a lot because I definitely don't have that skill. And I definitely don't want to do that work. So,
well, when you need a plumber, you pretty much need a plumber. Like, it's usually important. So they're up there on, like high level, sainthood sometimes. Like, I need you to show up at my house now. So I'm glad we've had this conversation.
me too.
It's an important one.
I
We
agree.
can get back to the serious stuff as to why LA's been mishandled, or the whole country.
Well,
But but I'm not. I feel like there are people with way more knowledge about it than me that can. I mean, otherwise, I have a bunch of opinions, but
we have a lot of experts. The experts are experts for the reasons that they're experts, and we should trust those experts because they've had the education and the schooling and they've taken a lot of years to have the knowledge base that they have, and we should really rely on their opinion on how we should be going about things, and that just has not been the case, and we keep ignoring them. And by we, I definitely don't mean I, because I have been paying attention to them as much as humanly possible. I have been absorbing all of the articles and the podcasts and everything that I can to stay up on, how the virus manifests. It's really interesting to me, a little terrifying, but a good terrifying, right? Because it's important to be able to stay healthy and stay safe and keep our fellow humans safe,
when you say manifest, you mean like enters your body or
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And how it affects the person's physiology once it starts doing its thing. And it's really scary. I'm sure you've, seen what happens to people who get it, and it's frightening. My mom is very high risk. I am also very high risk. She drives me crazy because she's a 2-time cancer survivor. She's currently going through chemo. She's gone through a lot. And she frequently visits her mother, which it's her mother. I get it. But her mother is a chain smoker, and also the reason she got cancer twice to begin with. And she goes over there, and I want to say, I want to say this very clearly. I'm not dissing my mom. I am afraid for my mom is the thing, because she goes over to my grandmother's house every day and is in the smoke and inhaling it. And it's terrible for her, and she's already very high risk as it is, and then taking that further into her system. And she's a social worker, so she works around a lot of clients who are at varying levels of manic behavior and lucidity and medications and things of that nature. And so, and they already had a scare when, I guess it was in April, there were, 3 or 4 clients in the facility that all tested positive at the same time. And I was like, oh no, it's coming for her. And thankfully she stayed healthy and safe. But I just it's a scary thing, you know.
Yeah. I mean, I guess your grandmother, like, there's something to be said too for how much time do we actually have with the people that we love too. I mean, we're all sort of on borrowed time, but yeah, it sounds like they probably need to be hanging out, your mom and your grandma. But it's hard for you. You said you're high risk too, huh?
Yeah, so I'm a severe asthmatic, and I also have a heart condition. Awesome
Oh,
times.
hold on.
So, hey, I'm doing okay. I mean, all my limbs work. I'm breathing. So today I'm good.
Right. You
Uh,
have to be extra careful.
I really got to watch it. Yep,
Yeah.
that's all. We just have to take the precautions. We have to take as many precautions as we can and stay as healthy as we can. That's that's all we can do.
Yeah, you got to hope that eventually things will calm down and we'll be back to normal and that will just be a more distanced culture. Like instead of shaking hands, maybe we'll take on the bow, the elbow, that type of stuff, which
I'm okay with
for,
that.
yeah, either of us, we're cool that I actually, after shows, I shook every hand, every person that came out took every picture, hugs, the whole thing. But as soon as everybody was gone, I'd wash my hands. But um, I hope we can get back to that because it's such a nice part of our culture. We're a warm culture, but it
Yeah.
doesn't work for pandemics.
No.
So, yeah, bummer, bummer. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to getting back to some sort of relative normalcy. That will be. I hung out with a friend of mine earlier, last week, and we had our masks on the entire time, but we took a walk around the neighborhood, and we did hug, and it was the first hug that I'd had since probably February.
Isn't it
And
weird? You feel like you could drink somebody when you're like face to face with them. You're just like,
oh,
oh, I just want.
it
Well,
was glorious.
I talked to one of my friends today who she works. This is her wheelhouse. She went to Harvard. She works in public health, and she gave me a slogan which I hadn't heard before, but maybe this is. I'm sure this is floating around somewhere. But she said, um, "Time, place, people, space. Don't forget to cover your face." So
Nice.
as long as like in her thing is like as long as it depends on how much time you spend with somebody, where you spend it. So if you're indoors, you're increasing your the risk factor immensely. What was it like, um, having 6 feet distance, so having the space between each other decreases your risk factor, and then covering, if both people cover their faces, then it really diminishes the chances of contracting anything. And I thought that was a cute slogan. So
Yeah, that's nice. I like that a lot. What are you looking forward to after we get through this?
Oh, getting back on stage. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's, I mean, I'm so rusty. I've done a couple of Zoom shows, but I mean, not being able to perform stand up is, I'm going to imagine it's going to be like riding a bike. It takes a few minutes to get your pedals going again, but once you're there, but this is the longest stretch I've ever gone without doing my act. And so, I mean, and I had it like, I was a well-oiled, like rolling down the road, smooth bicycle. And so now I'm like, but it also is evolving. Like I'm continuing to write. So it'll be a whole different game when we get back to it. But yeah, I'd have to say that's the thing I miss the most. And obviously for my kids, I miss a lot of things for them and with them. And this summer, man, we didn't get to like travel and do all the things we normally would do. So that was a bummer. But we're getting through it. I still feel like we have first world problems. Like we said, none of us are sick, and thank goodness your mom and grandma are okay, and you're okay. That's scary
Yep,
stuff.
and my dad too. They're doing okay, and I've been talking to them, pretty much every day. So that's good. We're all keeping in contact and checking up on each other.
Well, that's good. I like talking to my mom, but she's like COVID obsessed.
Is she?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. She's like, she's really concerned about it. So I mean, they're the opposite of your mom in that like my parents are like, nobody gets in here. But they're in Florida, which it's a good thing for them to be like that because it's another hot spot.
Yeah. Florida's a pretty wild place right now.
Yeah. No, it
Um,
sucks. Here, Florida, well, I think everywhere is becoming a hot spot, any major city. But we need to like move to some like outside, like rural spot. Anybody who's like living in a rural area is like, we have this. What we have it like, but we're stuck in the big city.
yeah. Listen, I will keep taking it on as long as I can keep living here
Well, you
because
can go into your Pokemon.
exactly.
Yeah.
And the game has made it to where I can I can play most of the game from just sitting here. So it's been really nice.
There you go. Or to create that whole alternate world full of animals and fun. I think I need to go do that. In your fantasy world, can you create COVID? Can you like just for fun? Like
Your
make it a
your
COVID
audio
like
your audio is distorting.
What is? What is?
Your audio's
am I
a little
going,
funky.
my audio's distorting? Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. You're a little Oh,
Muffled?
there we go. That's
Now?
better.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Oh, I was asking a very important question.
I'm sure you were. Please.
Can you hear me? I said in your alternate world that your roommates are in, can you make one of those animals that you're living with COVID positive, and then you have to quarantine in your fantasy world?
Maybe so. Yeah.
Would that be fun?
I don't know. I don't know all of the aspects of Animal Crossing. I really I only see what I only know what I see on Twitter. But I mean, it looks like a cool, fun, family friendly game. I'm sure I would love it. If I ever get a Switch, I'll check it out. Whatever.
They
But
say cats can get COVID, so you could make your fantasy world with a COVID-infected cat and see how you'll deal with that cat as you're walking around your fantasy world. Which
I guess
is really
so.
our current world.
Yeah.
That's what I'm gonna do tonight.
Are you?
Yeah.
Put a little in the catnip and see what happens.
Oh yeah, the cat. I'm creating I got this. Fantasy world, COVID cat.
I love it.
It's gonna be a blast.
Lana, I'm not sure if we touched on it when we talked before, but carte blanche, who would you like to work with? Like what, if you could work with, and this doesn't have to be a comedy person. This can be anybody currently working. Who would it be?
Like the first thing that comes to mind is horrible because it's like so annoying because he's so gross. But I for years I've always loved Woody Allen films, but like, and I mean, but no, you know what I mean? No, but
yes,
I
but
do
not
love
really.
films, but yeah,
Listen, no,
that's just the first thing that came to mind.
no judgment from me. Listen, I have a very high level of willing suspension of disbelief. I always have. I can fully separate the art from the artist. I am never going to stop.
My short list. I mean, they're like, I want to work with Woody Allen, Roman Polanski, Bill Cosby. Like these are that's my wish list, like all in one project. That would be the best reunion project. It's a film written by Woody Allen, directed by Roman Polanski, starring Bill Cosby. Who else do we need to put on that? Harvey Weinstein finances the project and gets it going off the ground.
Jeff Bezos.
Just keep going.
I mean, he would gladly fund it. Oh, well, listen, I mean, he's got 70 quadrillion bucks. He can fund it with a flick of his wrist.
Oh, I've just thought of our lead actor. It's Bill Cosby and Mel Gibson in a remake of another cop film. And they're cops that do terrible racist things all over the country. Like, yeah. It's That's the
I
film.
I love this. I'm greatly looking forward to this. I will watch with trepidation and no judgment because
I think this is a bit now that is going to enter my act. Like I'm going to carry this forward if you don't mind, Evelyn. This is
I
something
love
that's
it. Yeah,
this is
for
a little bit
sure.
of gold for me right now. I'm surprised I haven't thought of it before. I'm really excited. Yeah.
I love that the show could inspire you. Um,
Yeah.
listen, I mean, of all the things that we know about those people, I there are a lot of great movies that were funded by Weinstein, and I still, um, not that I'm going to marathon the Cosby Show anytime soon, but I'm not going to. Like, I mean, I might watch a random episode or whatever for nostalgia feelings because it was
Well,
such
if you're
a
going to watch
great.
it, can you I'm sorry, can you find it to watch it? Is it
Sure.
available?
Oh yeah.
Because then,
Oh,
okay,
I know where to
so
find
the
it.
perfect COVID activity you've just is to watch the Cosby Show, but roofie yourself before. And then hours will seep away and you'll wake up and be like, wow, are we through COVID already? Just keep doing that. By the time you watched the entire series, because I mean, how many seasons did they go? Like 1,000 seasons? And
Yeah.
every episode, roofie, sit through yep. By the time you get to the end of that, we'll be out of this mess. Sorry, I interrupted you there.
No, I think that's a great idea. I think, I mean, listen, and because not just, I mean, the Cosby Show was such a great piece of pop culture. It's a strong thread in the fabric of the zeitgeist. It's and like he did a bunch of like his stand-up specials and stuff. I mean, he was a powerhouse. Totally gross dude, sure, but and like I'm never going to stop listening to Michael Jackson music. I think he was one of the greatest artists that has or ever will live. You know,
Oh, I think the lesson though that Bill Cosby, or what was his name? Clifford? What was his name on the show? What was the dad's name? What was
oh,
his? It wasn't Bill.
Cliff Huxtable.
Cliff Huxtable. I think the lesson that we learn though is if you are funny and you're creepy, but we put you in a sweater, it's all good, right? You can get away with anything if you wear a sweater. As that was his thing.
Well,
Hilarious.
I guess it all depends on the level of creepy though, because like Raul Julia was also very creepy and hilarious, as in the Addams Family, but he's actually I think he passed.
Was he
But
creepy in his real life, or just on the Addams Family?
well, on the show, yeah, but
On the show, but wearing a sweater, right? He was yeah. Well, so you're showing me that sweaters can also be used in a creepy way. But I mean, if you get, you may like I got roofied and raped by the dude in the sweater. It's
ugh.
really all very disorienting. The whole thing, ugh, it's so bad. That was such a bad thing to say. So messed up.
You never hold back,
I
Lana.
No, but I love what's happening now in the world of entertainment, where the hashtag Me Too and women are getting to vocalize their feelings about things. And it came up recently, even for myself, because there's been a few people that haven't been very kind to me, and they've come out in the media lately, and people have seen their there have been a few men who have shown me their parts in a way that, in one case, if I'd have been like, cool, I might have gone further professionally. And in another case, it was just pure harassment. And both of those people have been called out in the media, which is great. One particularly that I dislike very much. So like, it's good. It's really, really good, because that behavior should not be tolerated. And what sucks is for women, it's everywhere. It's not just in entertainment. As a female, I know, like, if you're working at McDonald's, and you're like, want to get from the fryer to the register, the manager might harass you to do it. And it's like that's I'm so glad we're living in a world where, you know, my daughter attends a program at her middle school. She's in a magnet program, and it's new. It started last year. It's called SAGE. It's social and gender equity, and everything they learn is from that perspective, which is awesome because they're changing the way our world is. And I think that's just, it's so overdue.
That's incredible. It really is
But
overdue.
it does make making jokes sometimes. Like we started this conversation, we're talking about the climate of humor. Sometimes people can take things and be really sensitive, which you see that too online. But I think it's the difference between people saying mean things and it's coming from a really truly awful place versus people saying things as it's just funny. But yeah, but so social and gender equity, man, it's really, really good to see that.
It really is. And I'm so glad to hear that those programs are happening in the schools because, you know, I never had any of that stuff growing up, you know.
Well, you know, like with each generation, we hope to get a little bit further along, right? So it's funny when you look at some of the people that get in trouble, or oh, that TV show needs to be canceled because they were, you know, doing things that were unacceptable. So when we look back on some of the shows that our parents watched, and it's like Ralph Cramden is like, or my grandparents, I should say, like Alice to the Moon. You remember, like, so that's like a show that was touting spousal abuse, and we watch that and go, oh, that's not okay. And then our kids are watching like The Man Show, and it's like girls bouncing on trampolines, which I think is hilarious. But it's like, yeah, that's messed up, right? Like you can't do that anymore. I don't think, right?
Well, let's hope not. No, let's leave that stuff in the past.
I loved Girls on Trampolines. I thought
Oh,
that was hilarious.
sure, me too. Yeah,
it was just funny. And like, but some of that stuff you can't get away with, like Three's Company and like all that stuff. You just can't. They can't get away with it anymore. It's not the same.
Right.
The same vibe. But each generation sees it a little differently than the one beforehand. So
yeah.
If it can hold up that yeah.
I appreciate when we make strides, and I love to see it. I love to see, you know, positive changes being made. But it also aggravates the hell out of me when, you know, episodes of the Golden Girls or Community are pulled for things that didn't have anything to do with racial stereotypes, and it was really just execs not understanding what the humor of it was. You know, like that Community episode, like Ken Jeong is the last, I mean, it was Ken Jeong, for goodness sakes, you know, who was playing a dark elf. It was not, it didn't have
the episode.
It's probably one of the top 5 of the entire series. It's a Dungeons and Dragons episode, and so they're all, you know, playing goofy creatures, and Ken Jeong is playing a drow, and you know, it was taken as blackface, which is like, the joke in itself is like calling it is against racism. It's anti-racist. The joke and the episode are anti-racist, and they pulled it. And that kind of stuff just drives me nuts, man. It's comedy. Let it be comedy. Let it stand on its own, you know? And just
risky. It's risky comedy that is, and sometimes by going so far the other way, you're stifling it and it creates a bigger issue, right?
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
I love Ken, by the way. Ken, I've known him for many years. I did an Indiegogo campaign to raise money for a project that I'm about done with, but it was a 1-hour special for Ralphie May was my husband, you know that. But Ken was one of the people who really supported the Indiegogo. He's like one of my angels. And back in the day when I was like super broke and first moved to LA, he was not famous, but he was a doctor, bona fide, real doctor, doing stand-up, and he actually prescribed me yeast cream when I had an infection once.
Thank you, Ken.
So, thank you, Ken Jeong. You're always in my heart. He
Um,
didn't do any exams. I just told him my symptoms and
oh,
he wrote me a prescription. Yeah.
well, that's good. I'm
Just to be
glad that he
clear on the
was.
story.
Yeah, every story that I've ever heard about him is just like yours, that he is one of the
He's a
kindest humans
lovely,
living.
sweet. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's wonderful. I can't wait to see whatever that project is. I'm sure it will be wonderful.
Yeah, me too. It's yeah, but I feel like I'm really close to being able to get these things out to the world. So, yeah, just it feels like everything moves so slow,
Always.
but we're getting there.
Yeah. Well, Lana, I think
That was a really slow, long pause or on purpose. I feel like wait, let's just give it a little longer so it really fits in on how slow
yeah.
everything's
Listen,
going, especially right now. Here we go. Are we? We're not through it yet, are we? It's really slow. COVID is
like Craig Ferguson used to do at the end of his interviews, the awkward pause. I loved it when he sort of smell his finger. I always forget that, no one can see the actions that I'm doing on camera as they're listening.
Oh, is this audio only?
I will put this on YouTube,
you
but it'll also be an
okay.
audio podcast. Yeah, it'll go to all the places.
Got it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Got it. Cool. Sweet. You're doing it. You're doing it well.
Listen,
That's good.
it's still going.
Your podcast that I haven't done Perfect 10 podcast in a long time, but I relaunched it in two like separate ways. So I had all of Ralphie's episodes that we did together because I think you did it. I think you did it while I was after Ralphie left me. I think, right? I don't remember, but I had two. So we divided the content up into two places, so it's really clear and it's all still available. And I have another podcast that I started right before COVID hit, and I have about 8 episodes recorded, but I haven't really known what to do with it yet. So I'm going to get started again too. But those Perfect 10 episodes are so dang funny. So I recommend people going back and listening to them because they're hilarious and they're very politically incorrect.
Yes, they are. But that's why they're
there's
wonderful.
A lot of stuff in there. Yeah.
That's great. Well, congratulations on the new podcast then. I'll be listening when you finally release it.
Yep.
Are you gonna
I will. And
are you gonna put it out independently or are you trying for a network?
no, I don't know yet what I'm gonna do. Again, it's like it was recorded in my house, so like it's going to be called On My Deck because I do it on my deck, and I like to do a lot of deck jokes because I've got a small deck but a lovely deck, and it's like perfect to fit on there and enjoy. And every deck joke you can imagine is just there. But now I'm like, how do I do my podcast when we can't really hang out on my deck? So I might do it like if we continue through the isolation thing, I might be able to do what you're doing, which is to zoom in and I sit on my deck while somebody sits on their deck, and then we just have deck talk from miles apart. But
sure,
we'll see. I have them in the can and I'm ready to put them out at some point. But again, nobody expected this to go on so long and continue going on. So we'll see. It's evergreen. So whenever I get around to it, I will let it go.
And you've got, sounds like you have a lot of awesome projects as always that are going to be, coming out. So that's great.
Yeah, I've been working on a couple things and even in this time. So yeah, lots to look forward to talking further with you about.
Always. You're always welcome on the show. And I thank you so much for doing it so many times because you're really a delight. And, I can't take a compliment, Lana. I really can. I'm terrible at it. But I do appreciate it very much. You're hilarious and kind and just super talented. So thank you for joining me.
Well, you are too. And before I want to say three things. One, I hope your mom's
Please.
okay. I hope your grandma's okay. Hope
Thank you.
you stay safe and healthy. And I hope you get to meet that Chilean woman.
We're working on it. Thank you.
I want to hear about that.
Sure.
Hear how that goes.
We'll talk all about it off camera anytime. And of course, people can check out all your things at your very shiny new website at lanaturner.com.
Yeah, I just got a new website, which I'm very excited about. Yep. Go.
And there's
go to
there's
Lana
just
Turner.
infinite content on there. So definitely
Well,
check
there's
that
an
out.
H in Lana, just so you can remember. Actually, I have it right there because you had talked about that's the card for my 1 hour special because you just said you'd gone to that. So LAHNATURNER right there. And then got my I'm on all those platforms, right? Like Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all that stuff. So you can find me, and YouTube where you can watch all those crazy videos.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Lana.
Thank you.
As you said to me, stay healthy, stay safe, and yeah, keep rocking.
Live
Enjoy your
long and
week.
prosper.
Indeed.
Do the nerdy. That's the nerd.
That's right.
Mwah. Love
Take
you.
care.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye. Remember, you can follow me, as always, across all the places at Devlin Wilder. That's DEVLINWILDER. And Faux Real at Faux Real Pod. That's FAUXREALPOD. That's it for this one. See you on the next one.